Welcome to this comparison of Sony a6500 and Fujifilm X-T2. As my channel is focused on videography, I also focus my review on this topic. Both cameras are mirrorless cameras with the same sensor size, but the Fujifilm is a little bit wider and taller. The Fujifilm definitely has a much better build quality. The camera body's build quality reminds me quite a lot of Canon full-frame cameras. The Sony feels a lot more fragile. The Sony has a touchscreen, what is super helpful for changing the focus point. The Fujifilm doesn't have a touchscreen. However, it has a joystick which works very well too, so the lack of touchscreen is almost compensated. The electronic viewfinder of the Fujifilm is bigger and so much more comfortable to use. I have never been a fan of the eyepiece of the Sony. The Fujifilm has a much more comfortable eyepiece. One of the biggest problems of the Sony a6500 is the dimmed monitor while recording 4K videos. Under sunlight it is impossible to see anything. The Fujifilm has a brighter monitor, and it's not only brighter but feels like it has a much better resolution. The Fujifilm has 3 mechanical wheels. The first one is for changing the ISO. I find that quite a good idea. Definitely better than on the Sony, where you first press a button and then change the ISO via this small wheel. The second wheel is for changing the shutter speed, and that I find not only useless but also annoying, because to get a certain shutter speed you have to first move the wheel and then you can choose the shutter speed between the range of this number and the next highest one. If you want to go higher than that, you first have to move the wheel. A lot easier on the Sony, where you simply move this wheel. The last one is for exposure. I think it's pretty useful since exposure is not something you need to change all the time, but I've never missed such wheel either. Underneath the shutter speed wheel is another small wheel to change the focus area. I have no idea what went through their minds when they designed this, but I find it extremely difficult to use. Same goes for the change of focus mode. Manual, continuous, single. Why would you put that in the front of the camera? I need to be able to change the focus mode in 1 second. What I really like is that I can change the aperture on the lens. What an awesome feature. I would love to have that on my Sony lenses. The Fujifilm has 2 SD card slots. I personally never missed having a second one on my a6500, but I know that many pro photographers and videographers always want to work with 2 SD card slots. Image quality wise, both cameras are quite similar, but the Fuji doesn't have the flat picture style Sony offers. Through a very recent update, it got a flat picture style, but my camera always failed the installation of it. Both cameras have a similar sharpness, which is the best available on the whole market under $2,000. I very much prefer the electronic viewfinder and monitor of the Fujifilm. Also, the build quality is better, but for me, one of the key features of Sony are the picture styles, which are a lot more advanced than the one of the Fujifilm. I am a lot more used to Sony. The Fujifilm doesn't convince me enough that I would actually consider a change.